I love the idea that I can find music of some band in like Germany or France or Russia or somewhere,
Yeah.
and I can like their stuff, and then through social media, it brings down a barrier, and I'm able to follow their activities, to learn their catalog and music, to
Yeah.
chat with them, to do
Yeah.
all of that, which is great. So that aspect is fantastic in terms of being discoverable. Where it gets difficult and the down negative side of that is the fact that it is so accessible and that
Yeah.
everybody is out there. There is so much digital noise
Yeah.
that is happening. So it's hard to make it through. And every digital creator out there is trying to figure out what do I do to make my next video go viral? It's going to make a difference. I will tell you,
Hmm.
if you go to a live show like one of ours and you purchase a t-shirt for
Hmm.
us, that is equivalent to you listening to one of our songs on Spotify 12,000 times. Like that's how much we make off of that.
Welcome everyone to another episode of ULab Central. Today I'm joined with Sasha. Sasha, would you like to tell our audience why they should be excited about this conversation?
Hey there, absolutely. So here's why I think you should be excited. If you've ever listened to music, if you've ever heard a song that immediately takes you back into your memory and you are able to relive a significant moment in your life, then this conversation is for you because it's all going to be about music, part of what my company does, and what we are seeking to do to help empower musicians around the world. Because the music industry currently is in a fairly difficult state right now. We're in a transitional process.
Yeah.
If you love music, you can help out, and we're going to discuss exactly how that's going to go.
So, yeah, I've heard a lot about the mess that's there in the music industry or in general with the artists around the world as to, yeah, big labels, then we have streaming platforms. What is
Mhm.
the problem that you're currently working on?
So exactly that. So the music industry, for the time being, the problem is it is not, it's called the music industry, but really it's all about middle management. They're the ones who are making middle and upper, they're the ones who are making the actual money. The artists
Mhm.
are simply not. It is almost impossible to make a living, to pay your bills, to pay your rent, to make sure that your kids have got food, just by doing music.
Mhm.
And this is kind of ludicrous to me because musicians and artists in general are really the ones who have sort of steered society during COVID when everything shut
Yeah.
down. Everybody turned to artists, to musicians, to filmmakers to be able to make them feel safe and to get them through this uncertain time. And post-COVID, it's even gotten more expensive to tour, and so it makes it that much more difficult. So the problem that we're tackling, my co-founder Telson and I created a company called Fairview. So that's Fair VU.
Yeah.
And what we are doing is we are seeking to help musicians to create new revenue streams
Mhm.
uh, for themselves and cut out middle management, essentially.
Mhm.
So it used to be the way that it used to work, right, is if you were a musician, you had a band maybe, and you would write some songs and you would record a record, and then you would go and you would tour on that record, and you would get some from the record sales and some money from touring and merchandise, t-shirts and things
Yeah.
like that, and guarantees at the door and so on and so forth. Well, the issue is now record sales, because of digital streaming,
Hmm.
have essentially gone out the window. You
Yeah.
cannot really make all that much money selling physical copies, although vinyl has come back.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, so have cassettes. Cassette tapes are very popular among Gen Z right now,
Yeah.
which, you know,
Makes no sense. Yeah.
it makes no sense, but at least they're going to be able to get the experience of like getting a pencil and having to like
Yeah.
wipe the thing when it's all messed up.
Yeah.
But so what's happening now is because streaming has taken over and we have more music more music is available to us now than at any
Yeah.
point in human history, and
Correct.
so
Yes.
much so that it has become a commodity. We have devalued it because
Mhm.
we don't have to purchase the whole record if we just are interested in that one song. So we can just
Yeah.
play the song. And we don't even have to buy the song like you used to have to with iTunes for 99 cents. You
Yeah.
can just pay your monthly fee or listen for free
Hmm.
by having ads play in the background. And you have these multinational corporations. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a lot of, well, okay, so Spotify, because we do on our website, we'll talk
Hmm.
about it. I'm not saying that we're coming for Spotify, but what I am saying is the CEO, not a musician, has never been in a band, has never written a song, and he is the one who is in charge of the
Hmm.
world's music right now, which we don't think is groovy.
Right.
Musicians do not make any money off of streaming.
Okay.
Of the people who are on Spotify, of the artists who are on Spotify currently with their music, there's only 13% of us that are monetized. So you
Okay.
do not get paid anything until your one song reaches at least 1,000 listens. So that has to be streamed 1,000 times, and that a stream counts as 30 seconds or more. So if
Yeah.
someone tunes in for 29 and then they're like, nah, this isn't my thing, doesn't count, you don't get it.
Right.
From there, then you start accumulating payment per stream, but the payment that they are giving
Hmm.
is 0.0023 cents
Okay.
on the dollar. So like 1/2000th of,
Uh,
of of a dollar. It's incredible. So case in point. So I've been a professional musician for the last 20 years.
hmm.
Um, I've played in and out of bands. The current one I'm with is called United Defiance. We play punk rock music. They're based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. I
Yeah.
live up in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
So I don't rehearse with them when it comes time for us to play. Like I show up ready to go, and then we jump on
Yeah.
stage and do our thing. I've been with them for almost 7 years now, and we
Mhm.
have been on Spotify um, as artists for the last 6 years.
Okay.
We pulled the numbers when Telson and I started Fairview, and over the course of 6 years as a Spotify artist who has monetized, by the way, so we are making money off of our music on
Mhm.
Spotify. We earned for them for free for the first 1,000 for every song, and it's not
Yeah.
an album; it's per every song.
Yeah.
Um, Over the course of 6 years,
Hmm.
we as a band from Spotify have made $388 American.
Okay.
That is now that's for over 175,000 listens. Our music has been streamed about 175,000 times, and so that works out. We are a five piece. There are five of us. So for 6 years, being an artist on Spotify, I have made about 8 cents per month for the 7 years that I've been a member there. It's not sustainable.
Yeah. No,
So.
okay, go on.
And so I was just going to say, so that's part of it. The other half is
Mhm.
touring now.
Yeah.
Everything is incredibly expensive.
Mhm.
Inflation has gone crazy, and COVID had a huge part to play
Yeah.
in that.
Mhm.
Because when those prices went up, they did not come back down
Yeah,
to
right.
equalize everything. There are a lot of bands in Europe that cannot tour in the United States currently
Yeah, true.
because there are issues with visas and it's just too
Mhm.
expensive. I know for me personally, my peers, the bands that I play with, and that we go on tour with and such,
Yeah.
it's very expensive to get to Europe or to Asia
Mhm.
or anything like that to leave currently. So it's made it very, very difficult
Mhm.
to be able to take care of doing that. The 45 minutes that you see a band playing on stage is like just a moment in the whole day of moving all of the stuff of
All of this
travel
stuff. Yeah.
of for those of us who can afford to take airplanes, which most of the
Yeah.
time is not we. We're driving 7 to 10 hours in between gigs
Yeah.
and such. It's just a lot, and it's a little soul crushing. So Fairview is seeking to try to address that and to make that better.
Right. Now, we've seen a lot of creators, right, come up on platforms of different kinds, say YouTube, obviously Spotify was one. But then
Mhm.
YouTube is usually said to offer a better compensation kind of thing, where
Mhm.
per view or something of that sort, where once you've got a subscriber base and then you can follow that. And then YouTube Music has also come up as a streaming platform, right? How are these two measuring up? Is there a difference in the experience as an artist, or is there anything you want to share regarding that?
Yeah, sure. So, in terms of YouTube, I Fairview is fairly new. We just founded last November, and so
Mhm.
we do have a YouTube channel, and we have been working with that, and we're still working on monetizing things. So, I do not have enough experience personally as an online creator using YouTube in terms of compensation rates.
Okay.
However, I can tell you that one of the ways that YouTube is doing that is it all comes down to the algorithm. And
Yeah.
what drives the algorithm are the advertisers and the people who pay for it. So
Mhm.
if you're interested in a certain set of things, you may
Yeah.
or may not be showed those particular things that you're interested in. You are going to be shown the things that YouTube has been paid to show you, which
Correct.
creates an entire narrative that is kind of homogenizing everything and making everything sort of the same. So monetarily, I'm not sure about that. I do believe it is actually absolutely better than Spotify is.
Hmm.
And there are some platforms, CD
Yeah.
Baby is one of them. Bandcamp is
Yeah.
one of them that the money goes directly to the bands, but that is specifically what Fairview is trying to do. We are
Right.
maybe I should take a second and tell you what
Yeah.
Fairview is, and then we can talk about sort of the social
Yeah,
media
sure.
aspects of that. So
Hmm.
Fairview is it's a company that is seeking to build a digital platform that is
Right.
designed for musicians to be able to live stream their shows and to charge digital tickets for those live streams
Yeah.
directly to their fan base. So not through Ticketmaster, not through a label or a distributor or
Mhm.
a middle management or anything like that.
Yeah.
That you, if you love a band, you could
Mhm.
go on to their profile and you see, okay, they're playing a show tonight in Austin, Texas, or wherever, and you can buy a ticket for that, and the ticket price is set by the band. So
Yeah.
they're directly in contact with their fans, and you can sort of figure
Mhm.
out kind of what the music and experience is worth. You
Yeah.
can buy a ticket, you can see that, and then you have access to that show and media on demand on their profile the whole way through. And there's also going to be an e-commerce part of that equation that allows them to sell merch, which goes, of course, back directly to them.
Yeah.
It will be for us who are going to be hosting everything and building the actual infrastructure.
Yeah.
We are going to take a small percentage, but we are dedicated to trying to hold artists to making 90% of everything that
Of the
they
revenue. Yeah.
that they that they put out there. So that's what we're up to. And in terms of trying to get our message out, it's been interesting learning about the YouTube algorithm and
Okay.
how to do that. Certainly on Facebook, on Instagram, on all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Paid ads and the rest of that. And
Yeah.
it, it's been a difficult journey at me
Yeah.
as an artist personally, having to figure out how to lean into being a content creator and optimizing the length
Sure.
of my videos and
Yeah.
all of that stuff to be able to make sure that
Yeah.
a computer is telling everyone you should look at this without us coming out of pocket,
Mhm.
tens of thousands of dollars to be able to have to pay
Yeah.
for that stuff.
Now, there was this one incident that I heard about. I think it was Nas X, where he was a viral content creator on Twitter
Mhm.
or somewhere else and on TikTok. And then when he released his first song, it was basically on a reel, and then the reel exploded, and then he exploded. So basically, pivoting on social media and using it to his advantage.
Mhm.
To basically launch himself into the market itself. And that's where he got his break on his first song itself. Now, have you ever thought about, or how do you see social media acting as an helpful agent in this whole thing?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think that social media, and I'm 43. I was born in 1982, which means that I would categorize myself as an elder millennial probably, where I grew up for the first part of my childhood without, before the internet.
Yeah,
And as the technology and digital stuff was being developed,
yeah,
I was growing up and learning how to use it. So I'm comfortable with it, but I'm also comfortable without it. I don't
without it,
need it.
yeah,
So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me because I love the idea that I can find music of some band in like Germany or France or Russia or somewhere,
yeah,
and I can like their stuff. And then through social media, it brings down a barrier, and I'm able to follow their activities, to learn their catalog and music, to
yeah,
chat with them, to do
yeah,
all of that, which is great. So that aspect is fantastic in terms of being discoverable. Where it gets difficult and the down negative side of that is the fact that it is so accessible and that
yeah,
everybody is out there. There is so much digital noise
yeah,
that is happening. So it's hard to make it through. And every digital creator out there is trying to figure out, what do I do to make my next video go viral?
yeah,
And how do I get this in front of enough people that someone is going to like my stuff enough to be like, this is cool, and they need to share it, and then everybody comes in. I I just outside of the music world, I was
Mhm.
just watching on Instagram. We've got a
Mhm.
presence on Instagram. There's a dude in Scotland. He calls himself the Dodgy Gardener,
Okay.
and about 30 days ago, a month and a half, I don't know about the real timeline, but he's in Scotland, he's in Aberdeen, and he started this video series where he's like, "Hey, welcome to this series where I'm going to transform my totally awful back garden into an ideal, beautiful version that ChatGPT made for me, except I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not a gardener, and here we go." And so he's just sort of doing his thing. The
Okay.
dude is up, he's got hundreds of thousands of followers now doing that because it's engaging, it's personal, it's a little quirky
Yeah.
and off. And I think the challenge for digital creators is to figure out how do you get that and encapsulate that thing
Mhm.
which is interesting to people and is attractive, but without compromising who you are and what your brand is and what it is that
Yeah.
you're doing. And at some point, are you working for the algorithm or are you
The
trying to
user.
make the algorithm work for you? And
Yeah.
it's kind of a mess. So I'll tell you, I haven't figured it out yet with Fairview. We have not been able to go viral, though, we believe in our content. We do a couple of different things. We've got a show called An Interview,
Mhm.
um, which I go around the country and talk to different bands and
Right.
musicians about their experience in the music industry and sort of their background. I get together with another musician, totally geek out about this thing that
Yeah.
we both love together, and it's super
Right.
fun.
Mhm.
We do something called an overview, which is like a behind the scenes thing, which is kind of more business and technology
Mhm.
oriented. Here's what we're doing with our platform and why we're doing it. We're
Yeah.
chatting with different tech professionals and such. And then I do something called a healthy view,
Mhm.
which is it's a series that is designed to help people discover new music. And so I do
Right.
something good for my health, and sometimes it's a plank, or sometimes I go for a run, or so I do some stretching or something like that. But as I do it, I'm listening to brand new music, except there's
Mhm.
no music in the video.
Okay.
We do a countdown on the video. We provide a link and say, "Okay, I'm going to listen to this for the first time. You should too. Go and check it out, and then we'll do this together." And it's kind of neat. I have not yet figured out how to make the thing go viral and to grab a bunch of people. So if you happen to figure it out, please let me know. I would love to know what that formula is.
Oh, that formula is unique to every person, every creator, right?
Hmm.
They have their own niche
Of
and then
course.
finding the exact audience that they're looking for. It's kind of the whole problem, part of the whole problem. As a band as well, you might have had that issue, right? You go out, do a gig, and then see that which part of the crowd is vibing, and then according to that, you
Hmm.
change the song or you vibe to that. You vibe extra with that part of the crowd, something of that sort, and you try to maximize the whole vibe itself. Uh,
That's a really, really good way of putting that. That is a good, the word just popped out of my head, not an allegory. That is um, not a metaphor. I'm coming off as an idiot on the internet. So what else is new? That is a good way of putting that in that you have, as a musician, as an artist, you learn how to read the room.
yeah.
And it is definitely a different but similar skill set, I'm sure, learning how to read the room when it comes to digital creation. And
Yeah,
one of the things, a lot of it is just trial and error.
right.
You find
That's
something,
true.
and we work so hard on some of the stuff, and it
Yeah.
like we get just a couple of views, and then like one of the dumb things that we do that we're just like no big deal, like like it's certainly not a lot, but it has the most out of everything. And you're like, well, what the hell was it about that it spoke with
Yeah.
people?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot actually. The most complicated parts of an album actually don't get heard a lot, but it's the simpler things which the artist might themselves might feel that yeah, this is just a pass, but then it is the audience actually feels more related to that, and it's sometimes out of order for the artists themselves as to how they work out the audience itself. Now, from your experience, in your experience of going out with bands and doing gigs, uh,
Mhm.
have you seen anything that's been a repetitive problem and how could it be solved?
Oh, there's lots of stuff. Absolutely. A huge part of it really comes down to distribution.
Hmm.
To, you can have the best. record ever, but if you
Yeah.
can't get it in front of people, then it's an issue. And the classical way of doing that, that's why record labels became a thing, was a label would come up and they would hire, they would sign a bunch of different bands, and
Yeah.
then they would have connections that would push that out to radio stations. They would push it out to
Yeah.
distributors that, I mean, now these days you would get on playlists and such. And there's just so much competition, and there are so many, like I said, there's so much noise, it's difficult to stand out.
Hmm.
When it comes to live stuff, one of the things that I'm starting to see, I've got two kids.
Hmm.
My daughter's 14, my son's 18. And they've got some friends and some older friends and such, and like some of these younger bands that I play with occasionally on tour, they're young, they're hungry, they want to go out and make it,
Yeah.
but they're not exactly sure how to get gigs. And so I think the internet, one of the challenges is
Hmm.
because everything has gone so online these days, it has sort of taken away that kind of in-person apprenticeship of,
Hmm.
you meet bands out on tour and they sort of teach you, hey, have you been to this place? Oh, hey, here's the connection, talk to this guy, do the whole thing.
Right.
Or just call the places. A lot of the questions we get asked are, how do I book a tour? How
Hmm.
do I play out of town? And unfortunately, a lot of the answers to that is you just have to
Make
reach
it
out
happen.
and do it. And generationally, there is a gap on that. COVID screwed up a lot of people, a lot of kids. My kids both would tell you that they feel like the social interaction piece,
Yeah.
calling someone is like paralyzing for them a lot of the time because they don't
Uh-huh.
know them and they don't know what's going to happen. And like it's a practice thing. And yeah, it's no one likes talking on the phone to a stranger.
Yeah.
But we do it, we figure it out.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Having to call someone just asking a basic question, and it's like, why do I have to do that? Can't I just get it over the internet? For the generation, generation specifically, who's very comfortable using the internet and that in that way. Uh,
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even with that, young people, if there's like a hierarchy of communication,
yeah,
and you can give someone your Snapchat, you can give someone your Messenger ID or whatever it is, and then like if you're really close to them, like if you're dating, maybe it's a text,
yeah.
and it freaks them out to get a phone call. It's like who's died? Like they don't use the phone for the phone, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Now, the bands that you mentioned, right, that are going out, this connections that are there, uh,
Mhm.
are they being created? I mean, because I've been to a couple of gigs around town in different cities. They are
Mhm.
obviously there, but then is the culture actually dying? Would you say that the culture of a live performance, especially for bands, right? Obviously, single artists do go out. There was one huge performance of Coldplay that we had in India, but then
Mhm.
again, that was one star band that is there. It's not regular smaller bands, right? How is the culture in America right now?
I
Is it?
would say so. That's an amazing question, and I'll give it to you from my opinion. I come from sort of a punk rock background. I've played metal before. In college I messed around with jazz, and jazz is its own different thing. Each genre has similar stuff, but
Yeah.
also is unique. I would say that it is not dying out. Uh, the venues that we play, United Defiance will book all ages shows to allow minors in as often as we can because they are the ones who are just ride or die about music.
Yeah.
At that age, when you're a teenager,
Yeah.
music is such a part of, like, you find some band, you find some song that is able to perfectly encapsulate what
Yeah.
you're feeling and the experience that you're going through, and you're like,
Yeah.
they get me. And then you become willing to, yeah, I want to go and see them. I want to buy their shirts. I want to go and do all of that stuff. And so that energy is absolutely alive and well. And the all ages shows that we play here, they totally go off. They're the ones that just go wild
Yeah.
in person, because it's like, I think it's because partly they're used to seeing things on a screen, and like
Uh-huh.
that live thing is just so special. I remember I took my kids to go see Authority Zero, which is this
Okay.
amazing
Hmm.
ska punk rock band
Hmm.
from Arizona. And I'm good friends with them. We've been on tour a couple times,
Great.
and my kids had never been to a punk rock show before. And so we're
Okay.
in there, and they're seeing stuff, and I had to explain about like what the mosh pit is. It was very scary to them at first until like my daughter got it. She kind of pulled me down and she was like, they're picking each other up. And I was like, yeah, they're all dancing and like loving this music.
Yeah.
But in the pit, just like in life, when somebody falls down, we pick them up again, make sure they're okay, and then we all go again. And like, they hadn't, I had to explain that they were not having heart palpitations, but the bass was hitting them,
Yeah.
physically. And like, it's just part of that experience. So I would say
Yes.
the culture of live music is alive and well here in the US. And the smaller shows, those are the ones that are gold. They're consistent.
Yeah.
Seeing a huge headliner and paying a lot of money, and that's a whole other thing with Ticketmaster driving up prices and doing
Yeah.
what they call dynamic pricing. So the more
Uh-huh.
people that want to see it, the more it's going to cost.
Mhm.
I saw Blink 182 in 1996
Oh, okay.
for $15, and that was with Pennywise and Guttermouth and the Mermen at like a
Okay.
festival at a ski resort.
Mhm.
And seeing that people were trying to charge $4,000 per ticket to see them when they came
Yeah.
back, like that's disgusting. And you know that most of that is not going to the band anyway.
Uh,
So that's a whole separate thing. But in terms of those small shows, the shows that are happening live, go out and check it out. Go out and find a new artist, find someone who has
yeah.
put their life and their soul into what they're up to,
Yeah.
because it's going to make a difference. I will tell you,
Hmm.
if you go to a live show like one of ours and you purchase a t-shirt for
Hmm.
us, that is equivalent to you listening to one of our songs on Spotify 12,000 times. Like that's how much we make off of that. So for
Yeah.
you to go and like see these people and be like, thank you for playing. This is awesome. Yes, I'd like one of your shirts. That is huge for an artist.
Right. Makes a lot of difference, right? Even just me just trying to imagine hearing to a song 12,000 times and then just buying a shirt and provide the
Right?
same value to the artist, right? It makes a lot of difference. And now, if you had to give one message to the young artists and bands that are just coming out, okay, from your 20-year experience, if you had to go back and tell yourself, what
Mhm.
should you be doing differently? So the young guys or girls that are coming out, what would you tell them?
Okay, good question. I got a two-part answer for
Mhm.
this. If I were able to go back and talk to myself at 14 when I started, or 13 or whenever it was, I would say two things. I'd be like, look, um, first and foremost, always, always, always play for yourself.
Right.
Do this because you love it.
Hmm.
And if you are planning on doing this as a career, if you are planning on doing this in terms of making it, you need to get really good at doing the business side of it.
Yeah.
They call it the music business. I'm an artist. I've put 30 years into me learning my art and craft and developing that. I am not a good businessman. I am not a good manager.
Okay.
I can deal with it, but also I work with people and I network with people who are able to fill in the gaps for my skill
Yeah.
set. And that's something that took a long time. So I would tell artists, if you are planning on doing this professionally, you need to get good at responding to emails and being present with people, being on top of a schedule and a calendar. Make sure that you understand about marketing and about promotion. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing: the reality in 2025 is you have to do all of that as a musician. It's not enough to just have a good song and songwrite. You have to know how to do all of the stuff, to create the content, to do the marketing, to understand video editing, to do all of that stuff. So start your skill set. Otherwise, you don't have to play a 30,000 seat arena in
Mhm.
order to get the feeling of connection with other human beings through live music.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens in a bar with 20 people.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens at an outside picnic
Mhm.
that someone's just like, hey, Sasha, here's a guitar, sing something. And I'm able to start playing, and everybody shuts up and listens to me. And then we have a thing back and forth. I will tell you, one of the most profound musical experiences of my life.
Mhm.
I was on a bus in Romania,
Okay.
and I was there studying as a student, and so we were on like an excursion. There were
Yeah.
people from probably 16 different countries,
Mhm.
and someone to pass the time, somebody got the idea that hey, we should each sing a song, just a cappella, from our culture to sort of share with
Okay.
everybody. And so they went through, and so the guy from Italy sang something, and the guy from France sang something, and the guy from Brazil sang something. Like it was very, very cool. They got to the group of Americans, and this woman who was there, she was like a missionary, and she started singing Yankee Doodle, which was embarrassing as hell. And it was just awful and not representative. And it was awkward. Everyone got just super quiet and the whole thing. And then
Yeah.
when she finished, there was no applause, there was no support. And then from the very back of the bus, somebody started singing the opening lines to the Beatles Yesterday. And just in the very back, someone was like, Yesterday. And then the entire bus
Oh,
came alive and started
right.
singing. And it just, I've got goosebumps remembering that. It was just so beautiful and profound that
Mhm.
that song had come together and linked everyone together across,
Right.
the globe. So very, very cool. So those are the moments as a musician, as an artist, that I would recommend that you seek out because it's why it keeps me
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing. And it is not all about digital and views and reels and making sure that you know how to edit this so it looks good. Get out there and play live and
Mhm.
be with your fellow humans. That's my message.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you for this like, lovely message and for all the information and work that you're doing for the
Of,
artists.
of course.
Before closing in, do you want to share any details where people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Please come and check out our YouTube channel, Fairview, Fair, VUFAIRVU. We also have our website, which is fairvu.net. And if you go there, we've got a digital store. We are selling a couple of different products, including sort of like a pre-sale ticket bundle to once we end up launching our platform. Every purchase goes directly into helping us put that together to get the developers and the team together and make all of that happen. And eventually, what we want to do is to have all of the artists on our platform and to be able to have access in between the band and yourself and their fans and to have that
Yeah.
going on. So come and check out the content that we're putting together. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Blue Sky, we are on TikTok, we're on X, all of that stuff. Come and have a look, and we would love to see you out there. Go see a live show.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Thank you for joining in. I'm sure the audience would also love getting on your platform and hearing about it and hearing to the bands itself directly to them. To the audience, if you liked the conversation, do share, give a like. If you have anything to add, if you relate to something, have a question, the comment section is open, and don't forget to subscribe before closing. Thank you so much for joining in. Thanks, Sasha. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Have a good one.